Hi, I'm Maria Leaders and welcome to this episode of Voice for Women TV. I decided to film outside today because it's absolutely a gorgeous day here in Queensland. The breeze is blowing, the trees are moving and it's divine. But you may hear one or two cars going past on the street below, so I'll try to speak a bit louder so that we can blank out any of those noises. So today I thought I'd share something that may help a lot of women understand why they go through the emotions of feeling angry and upset, of feeling lost, of feeling anxious. And sometimes it's as little as being able just to stop and look at the basics and the foundations of who we are and what we're about. And I'm talking about something called rules and boundaries. Now, I know a lot of people hate the word rule and boundaries, so do I, because unfortunately our society is governed by that. We live in a rule society. If we break any of the rules that are set, then there is a price that we have to pay. So if you're speeding or get a parking ticket, and God knows I've got a few of those, the price comes by way of a ticket and then a small monetary fine, or in some cases a large monetary fine. So there's always a consequence to pay when we break rules. And we're so used to living in a society full of rules. What happens when we break our own rules? What happens when we set rules that we want to live by and abide by? Rules that are in congruency with who we are, what we like, what we want to do, what we don't want to do. What happens when we break those rules? It's not as simple as a monetary fine. It's generally a bigger price, and that price comes in a way of emotion, in a way of either depression, anger, upset, feeling lost, feeling that you have no idea why you feel the way you do. As women, we are natural nurturers. We love to look after people. We want everyone to be happy. And it's a lot easier for us to say yes and to do things we don't want to do to keep the peace. But there's a big price that we pay when we do that. And over many years of doing the same thing, we kind of become like a martyr in our own life. And then we look at blaming everything else around us except ourselves. The old thing and the old adage that they say, it all starts within, is so true. But the problem that women have, and I know it was the case for me, is that we don't value ourselves enough to set those rules and boundaries. We would rather go through life just doing what we have to do and just reacting as things turn up. But when I started to change my life and started to put my rules and my boundaries in place, everything changed for me. It's easier to say yes than it is to say no. But until you've set those rules for yourself, you don't know what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to. And rules and boundaries affect every area of our life. It affects our personal life, our family life, our work life, our business life, our finance life. Every area that we exist in needs to have some sort of a boundary or some sort of rule that is congruent with what we want. So it's very, very easy, as I said, to say yes and very hard to say no. And I'll give you an example. I've always been the sort of person that will just jump and help anybody. Whether I really want to or whether I don't want to, I feel it was my obligation. So I spent hours and hours of time and so much effort in sitting down and making things right and smoothing things out and talking things through. And every time I did that, it was at the detriment of something to me. And it was at a detriment that I was not paying attention to my life and doing what I wanted and what was important for me. So starting to say no was very difficult. But what I found was, instead of saying yes immediately, I would just say something like, look, I'm really not sure. I need to check my diary. I'll get back to you. And you know, we have this amazing thing called the mobile phone. And unfortunately, and I'm very guilty, but I will admit it, I would take sometimes the easy way out and I would just send a text and say, look, I've checked my diary, totally flat out, not able to come along. I apologise, but I'm sure you're going to have a great time and maybe next time. So I started off with little steps like that, and now it is really easy for me to say, look, that just doesn't work, but it all sounds fantastic, but I'm going to decline. Whereas I needed to have that buffer at the beginning, because setting our rules and our boundaries for what's important for us will help us live a more happier, a more fulfilled life. But not only that, it gives us the empowerment to be strong, and we empower ourselves to be able to stand up for what it is we want and what it is that's important to us and not to somebody else. So setting rules and boundaries has an amazing advantage in moving forward in our life, in every area of our life. You know, even as a mum with a family and children and a husband, where's your downtime? What is it that you do? What are your rules around having some space and some time out? Have you set those? Because if you haven't, then you're going to be running ragged and doing everything for everybody with absolutely no help. And it's not just about setting the rules and setting the boundaries, it's about following through and honouring those and being true to yourself by doing what you have set. So my thing for the ladies out there today, and what I would love to invite you to do, is sit down and have a look at each area of your life and have a look at what rules you've set. And if you haven't, then set some. Set some and let everybody know in your family and surrounding of what it is that's important for you, and then live by those rules. Be strong, be empowered, and start to make decisions based on what you want in your life and what makes you happy in your life, and not what makes others happy. Because that's the secret of eliminating some of those emotions that we feel, some of the anger, some of the anxiety. You know yourself, when you say yes to something you don't want to say yes to, you start to get upset, angry, and then you take it out on somebody else in the family or a friend. And really the fault is your own, and you know that, but that's why you're angry at someone else. So avoid that. Take charge, be empowered, make decisions, set your goals, set your boundaries, set your rules, and just make sure that you follow through. And I hope that helps. Just a small thing I wanted to share, because it has popped up for me in the last couple of days, and I have had to be mindful about what I say yes to. So I hope it helps. Go out there, empower yourself, set your rules, set your boundaries, and follow through. Really enjoyed sharing this with you. Until next time, bye for now.